Solo: A Star Wars Story is directed by Ron Howard and is the second movie in the Star Wars anthology series. So Solo is the origin story about how Han Solo became the character who we all know and love. It's about how he met Chewbacca, and it's basically about how he became the scoundrel who we all know and love. And as a lot of you guys are aware, this movie went through a production nightmare. Because last year, when they were filming it, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who also directed the Lego Movie and 21 Jump Street, they were supposed to direct this movie. However, Kathleen Kennedy fired them, and that's when Disney had to get Ron Howard instead to direct it, and that's when they had to reshoot 80% of the movie. So going into this movie, I was not excited for it at all. I mean, yes, it is a Star Wars movie, and I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but it's just, the idea that they gave Han Solo his own spin-off movie is just stupid. But even though I was not excited for this movie, I did go in with an open mind. So before I get to my thoughts on the movie itself, let's start with the things that I liked from it. So Alden Ehrenreich plays the young Han Solo, and he was better than I thought he was going to be. I mean, if I were to sum him up into one word, it would be fine. He was fine. I mean, he doesn't top Harrison Ford, of course not. Harrison Ford is Han Solo, and he will always will be Han Solo. I mean, but Ehrenreich was fine. It's not like he completely crushed the role or anything. He's not going to win an Oscar, but he was fine. But the one casting choice that I really loved was Donald Glover as Lando. He was great as Lando. I mean, it's not like the best performance I've ever seen from an actor or anything, but he was great. And the action scenes were very well directed, and the CGI was great as well. But are those things enough to make Solo a good movie? Unfortunately, no. Guys, if I'm being honest, I didn't like Solo. I didn't like this movie at all. So here are the issues that I had with Solo. For example, it's an origin story. It's about how Han Solo became the character, like I said, we all know and love. But it doesn't dig deep enough into his character. That's the point of an origin story. It's supposed to dig deep into a specific character. But Solo doesn't do that for no reason. And I don't know if this would count as a spoiler or not, but there wasn't a real villain. I guess you could call Paul Bettany's character a villain, but the problem is he's barely in it. Star Wars is well known for having some of the most iconic villains in not only movie history, but in pop culture history. For example, the original trilogy had Darth Vader. The recent movies have Kylo Ren. And say what you want about the prequels, personally, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I'll give them credit for having real villains. For example, Count Dooku, Darth Maul, and General Grievous. But in Solo, I can't tell you who the real villain is. And I know I'm going to surprise you guys a lot by saying this, but throughout a majority of this movie, I was bored. Like, during a ton of scenes, I was starting to zone out. But the real problem I had with this movie is it's just a mess. The story had way too much crap going on, and there was just way too many subplots going on. Even though there were a few things that I enjoyed from it, Solo was unfortunately boring, it was messy, had way too much crap going on, it was frustrating, it's just, I didn't hate it, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, like, it's not awful, but it's just a swing and a miss. I give Solo: A Star Wars Story a C-. Alright, that's a wrap for my Solo: A Star Wars Story review, and before I end this video, I have a question for you guys. Have you seen Solo? What do you think of it? Or, what is your favorite and least favorite Star Wars movie? Whatever it is, just comment below. And if you want to see more of my videos, just be sure to subscribe.